Hello everybody, this is Techno Paladin and welcome to Factorio, and this is going to be a little something different than our normal noob to megabase playthrough. I'm basically trying to do some blueprint design analysis and testing, and now that we've gotten a 500 science per minute factory, or rather the kind of a module area as it were, I don't know if it's actually getting me a full 500 science per minute just because we need to work on some logistical issues, but I thought, well, now that we have the first cut down, it's time to start playing around and find a little better way for us to do some testing without having to worry about the factory coming to a screeching halt or anything like that, and really allow us to kind of play around. So I finally installed some mods, and I started a new little playthrough here that just has everything unlocked, and it's got the editor extensions and all that good stuff. So that way we can do what we want to do here. And as you can see, I set up a little bot port and some concrete, and we paved over a bunch of stuff, and I even took my smelter design and basically dropped it down. So that way I can do some testing, so I can see how well it does without having to worry about backups or anything. And you can see that on occasion we get like one little blip where it's missing. You know, there's one on that side, and then it'll shift sides, so it's not always 100% a full belt, and it's probably just due to the nature of how these things work and how everything's kind of configured. But this is a way for me to test it, and as you can see, we got like super speed and all kinds of stuff here, so we can play around and do some testing. So one of the things that we're going to be testing is basically throughput and how we can try to optimize and maximize our workflow. So like here, if I come in here, I'm gonna set this to say like for example, let's go iron plate. Right, so one of the first things that we normally build, so if we come in here, is going to be the stuff for like red science. So we need copper plate, we need iron gears, and we basically tend to make the gears as we go, kind of do it in line, and that's probably a fair thing to do, but we need a little over a belt and a half. Well, actually, if I let me back up there for a second. If I step up the factory to a higher size, let's say like 1300 science per minute for this module, to where we have 2 rocket launchers. And so what I'm thinking is I want to design something where I have the 2 rocket launchers kind of in the middle, maybe with all of the research modules kind of around it, maybe. And then have the all the factory that builds everything for the sciences kind of off in wings on each side, so that way we get like this one big platform of space here. It'd be like a big rectangle of space, and that might work for my current thought and flavor on how we can maybe make this happen. But to do some of that, we have to figure out, well, what's our max throughput? What's the things that we require? And so, for example, with gears, for everything involved with that, we need essentially a little over 1 full belt of gears. So it's going to take, I think the recipe came out to like 1.2 belts, because we need like 3,000 total. We're going to need almost 2 full belts of iron, but it's not a full 2 belts. It's like a little over 1.5, right? So it's not quite, as bad as it sounds, but I mean, we still have to kind of make it work. And so some of what we need to do is figure out, okay, well, what's the best way to do that? So if I come in here and say, okay, well, I'm gonna copy you and paste you. So now I have 2 belts, right? So that gives us our 1 point whatever that we need. But to make this happen, we only need like 3.5 factories. But 3.5 is kind of a silly number to try to make. So what if we, if we change the design a little bit to where we maybe do more beacons. So for example, if I come in here to do our normal, and let me set up a couple of these just so I have, we can come in here because I have it set to infinite. We'll just create some in our inventory. We'll create some of those in our inventory. We can, do the different things. So if I come in here, let's just grab, actually, let's move that down here. Let's do that. Let's get our beacon. Yeah. Okay. So if we do our normal, right? So this is like, okay, we have, 8 beacons, right? 3 and 4, right? So this is our 8 beacon setup. Now, if I do this, we need, like 3.5 factories to make this work. Well, I don't want to do 3.5 factories. I want to do like maybe just 3 factories. So have it just under 3 factories. So we're not overproducing or just underproducing. And I can do that if I can get 10 beacons. Now, if I do that, that means I'm going to have to do something like this, which means that it becomes a little less efficient from a belting perspective. But if I was to copy this, I can do, 1 and a 3, right? So we have this here, and then that's going to give us, everything that we need in general, right? So that way we can get this to do what we need to do. The catch, though, is that this produces 2 belts worth of goods. It needs 2 belts of input. And so the, really comes down, is this the most efficient way to do it? Should I put, should we break it up to where maybe we have like one of these, in line, maybe we don't do 3, maybe we reduce the beacons, and make it to where, we need 4, or a little of 4, maybe even 5 or 6, make it a little slower. We still get the same belt out. It just needs more factories. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here, is like, what's going to be the most optimal way to kind of make this work, right? Because this obviously takes a lot of space. But then if we come over here, if I come out, get away from that, and we drop one of these guys down, and let's just say we do a small stack, let's just say 4, right? So if we had 4 beacons, we need like 6.5 factories. That's not quite great. If we go to 5 beacons, we need just over 5 factories. If we need go 6, we need just over 4. So there's not really a good way to make like a even number. Maybe if we change out the modules to where instead of having, full red productivity on here, maybe we change one out to be a blue module, so that way it's kind of slows it down. It's like, you got to try to find the right balance. And then once we do that, then it's like, okay, well, now I need multiple of these guys. So how do you get, all of them in here, without taking up a ton of space? I can do this again and have another 4, two modules, and so on and so on and so on. So it's just a matter of, what do we do? And then if we take the modules completely out, like if I just say, oh, we don't want to do any modules at all, then let's just say that that's going to be, let me see, I think I have a recipe on my other monitor here. That's 37 factories if we did no modules and just red modules in here. So if I did that, that's not great. Now, if I change it to a speed module and not a, if I just change it to a straight up speed module, so no extra productivity, which would not be a great idea because, you're losing out. It's like 7 even for a factory, right? So, but what if we do like a 2 and 2? So we still get some benefit, Well, there I'm down to like 10, right? And I probably could have shown this on the screen. I was looking for a good mod for factory planning, and while I installed Hellmod, I was not quite grasping it yet, so still trying to play with that stuff while I do the other stuff on my other monitor. But the main thing is that, well, if we do this, that's going to create 1.7 belts, or close to 2 belts of gears, and then that's going to have to go on to something like a bus. So because if I try to start normalizing this, then we're going to have a bus, and so that means that we're going to have to come in here and have a couple lines for this, so that would be, let's say, our gears, and then we would probably need another, I don't know, like we're probably gonna need a ton of iron. I mean, if we split it up in half, because if I do this as a split sides for the 1300 science per minute, we're looking at about 37 belts. So even cutting that in half is still a lot. I mean, you're talking like 16 belts. So I mean, and you're gonna do it in increments of 4. So you're gonna have something like this, but you're gonna have 16 of them. I mean, that's a lot of, if you think about it, that's a lot of space. There's another 4, there's another 4, there's another 4. So this would represent just the iron and the gears. We still need another 5 belts of, it's like probably like 2.5 per side of steel. Another like 13 belts of copper. And then you need the belts of all the various gears or other gears, red circuits, green circuits, blue circuits. So part of what I'm trying to figure out is, what should we make on site and what should I ship in? Right? Because I can set up a factory to make gears. And if I have a factory that makes a trainload of gears in a matter of, I don't know, let's just say 30 seconds, I probably produce more than enough gears to support multiple of these factories. And that's the dilemma that I'm running into. So with that, if I go through and then delete, so what I'm thinking about doing is starting out with the science packs themselves. So if I was to set the science packs up in such a way that we can get an even, a fairly even distribution, then I think we can kind of make this work to where I can do like on a per side basis. So we would need like 7 per side. So if I come in here and just, something like that, right? 5, 6, and we'll probably need one more. 7, right? So, I mean, this is no stranger to what we've been doing. We have our 7 science packs here, or our 7 whatever blocks you want to call it, right? So we can just come in here and let's just get the last right, let's just get those dropped down as an example here. So we can come in here, set this to red science. Okay. So then what I can do here is I can then change this out, and we can say, okay, well, what if I have a gear, right? So let's just say that we're going to bring the gears in. So I can set that to a full gear, and then we're going to also have one for, and we'll set a couple spaces apart here. And this is going to be the copper plate that we need. Now, to make this work, we need quite a few ingredients to make this kind of work. because we need, let's see, what's it needs 1 and 1. So actually doesn't need a whole lot. So if we do the normal, workflow, I can either take the gears down and then the copper down, or we can take the gear and the copper, straight down. Now, the thing is, though, is I might not want to use blue belts because, well, why use blue if I don't need to? Right? It's 45 items per second. I'm probably only going to be able to pull like 15 per second. So part of what I want to test is if I do something like this, right? And then we know that we're only going to get roughly a half a belt out. So then I can come down here, we can set this to be our, be a consumer. So that way we don't have to even think about it. Let's use some greens, let's use some blues, and let's go ahead and set some things up here. Because the whole purpose of this is to show, how you can kind of test a design and then turn that into something useful that you drop into your factory. So here, I'm going to start with just a single inserter for these guys. And then I do want to come in here and grab those. And then we're going to come out here and grab these and do all this. That way we can say that, yes, they're all beaconed up. And then we're going to use one of the infinite power. Just so that way we don't have to worry about power. And what we're going to do is I'm going to transform the belts to where, it's essentially going to take a bit off of it. So what I want to do is have the splitter. So we're going to use an express splitter that goes into the yellow belt. So then what I want to do is I'm going to do this here. Let me grab some undergrounds here so that way I can say like this. Let's just go over here like that as an example. And then we can use this to kind of show that it keeps on going. And then what I want to do is let's just take this yellow, come on down like so. We can do blue there. And then we can do the blue there, right? So then what we can do here is take this guy here, right? And then we'll just set up a way for this to get sucked off, so that we don't have to worry about it. And then we can just go boom and boom, right? So now we should be able to see how well this does or doesn't work. And you can kind of see the leftover of the belt as to what's still available. And so as of right now, we only have, we have 3 of these guys going. Look at this. You already can see we haven't even got all of these running. And we're already at a point where we're saturated a full side of the belt. So if we're going to be building the factory based on saturating a side, we probably are going to consume a lot more than 45 per second. Well, not 45%, or less than 45 per second, because it's only half a belt. So what's that? About 22 per second of transfer, right? If you can only get 22 per of transfer max, because we're not shipping a full belt down to our research center, what's the purpose, right? What are we doing? So let's come in here. Let's just see if I can get a lab. I want to get a lab, and let's just do a green inserter. Right. Can I actually, can I do a is there a lab over here? There is a super lab. Let's just grab one of those and go boom. Right. I want to see if this is gonna work. Oh my. Okay. So, well, we don't have anything to research, and I'm trying to do this here, so that doesn't really help. What I could do is, let me just come in here. Let's just go. I want to basically mimic a different type of product chain, right? So we could do something like this, right? Where we can have a full belt maybe coming in to where we're populating both sides and then have a full belt, but then that's only 3 belts. We have 7 total. So it creates a logistical fun mess to figure that out, right? So in the meantime, I'm going to delete that. And then let's, so those are still working, right? We can see that. So I'm going to kill this. Let's see, how many can we build to saturate just half that belt? And this one is, I mean, is it even used at all? I want to say no. It doesn't look like it's being consumed at all, does it? Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. And that we should still be basically getting a full half side of a belt. So that's much different than what the spreadsheet calculator thingy basically told us, right? Because we only used 4 and we're getting a half a belt. And that's, you know, that's kind of what we're looking to do, is we want to optimize our workflow here. So now I can kind of do this, get rid of all those, and I can just come in here and just go boom, boom, auto trash all this stuff that we don't want. Oh, I didn't set up any logistics bots on this. So anyway, we can come in here. You know, let's just delete those. Right, so that right there shows us that we can use a minimum. So we can actually use this yellow belt model to pull in for reds, right? Now the next one that we normally build is green. So if we go to the next one in the stack, oh, wrong button. You know, so we need a belt and an inserter. So to make that, you know, we're going to need, you know, quite a few machines. We're going to need, you know, but, you know, we need a bunch of stuff, but it's not like we need a ton of these products, right? So the question is like, how much do we really need? And we can probably get away with 2 factories. Let's see. Let's say that this is the start. So let's do 1, 2, and then we'll do, I think I could do 3, maybe do a little space, a gap in here. Yeah, maybe something like that. So this would be our inline. Oops. So this would be creating the resource products required, because we need, let's come in here. We're going to say that we're going to create this, we're going to create that, and then this is going to create the belt, right? And yeah, we don't even need a full belt to get what we want to get done. So if we were to bring this in and just say, okay, so we're going to use blue belts for all of our transports. That way, anything that we need gets done quickly. And then we're going to use this guy here. We can go out and out and out, right? Now this needs, what does this need? It needs green circuits, iron plate, and gear. So it needs 3 inputs. And then this guy needs gears and iron plate. So we have gears, right? So this is a situation where it's like, okay, can we take off a yellow belt of gears? And so we want to come down here. So we're going to need gears for both, and we need iron plates for both. So let's use this as a guinea pig here for for that. So this is going to need just that. These two are going to need a green circuit. And so the question then comes in, do we want to do green circuit production on site, or do we ship them in on the train? Right, so we can start with this right now. And what I want to do here is let's grab that there, and we're going to go ahead and create another one up here. This is going to be iron. And then we know this is going to be gears and iron. So let's go ahead and bring up a belt. I'm going to just kind of do this, and then we can do that. And then all this is just so that way we can set it up to where it's already doing what we want to do. And then I can just kind of do a delete and boom, delete and boom, right? So that's mimicking what we need here, and then I can just kind of bring this across. So now we got our flow, right? So we need to bring this guy up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take some of the iron off. And we're going to take some of that off, and then we can do, let me bring this up just a little bit more. And then we're going to go you on that side, bring you down, and we're going to bring you in, right? So that's going to bring those in, and yeah, it helps if I make the inserters, right? So that's that, and then what we can do is have this come down here. For now, I'm just going to have this go into nowhere, so we can see how well this is going to work. And this is going to go to a red module. We need blue modules on here. And then let's get our red modules in here. Okay. So that's going to mimic our workflow. And this guy here, you know, looks like it's doing its thing. We're like overloaded on that. So maybe what we need to do is do a green output. Maybe that'll do a little better. It's pegged at 100. So let me put down 2. And there we go. That's a little better. So you can see there's just a tiny little gap there. And then so that's like, okay, well, what if I put in 3? Right? And how are we doing? So now we're getting material shortages, but we're still at 100. So it looks like that's going to be fine to keep up, right? We didn't need to change the inputs. And these aren't really pulling, so it's kind of hard. It's misleading to see if this is going to be enough. We might have to change this to a red belt. So what we need to do next is get the green circuits into here, which is going to be fun because there's not a lot of room to do it. And I can't really do direct insertion or anything like that because there's no room. So we're gonna mimic a green circuit production line, saying that, hey, yeah, we have green circuits on a belt somewhere. Okay, so now we just got to figure out, well, how are we going to get these green belts in as an input? So we can potentially bring it down here because we don't need a ton. So we might be able to do, the fun belt weaving trick here to where I just do this, and then we can bring a red belt down. And let me get a red and just do this, and then we can do that and just make sure it's pointing the right direction. Okay, and then we can go ahead and drop our blue inserters in and do it right there, right? So then we'll do I'm gonna take it off of there for now, and then what we'll do is we'll take that actually, let's let this one be like a full belt that goes down to red. And then we'll take this guy here over this way and give it a depository location. Okay, so then we can just go pop, and there we go. All right, so that's going to take, you know, half the green belt, and then this is going to start doing its thing, and then we'll be able to start seeing how well this does or does not work. So we can see, we're getting full. So let's try swapping these out to greens. And let's see, let's come down here. We're going to watch and see how well our gap is doing. So we have a tiny little gap. These are still going strong. That is still going strong. We got our full 50 in reserve. Okay. So we have the room, so where I could do something like this. And we can go ahead and just do, instead of doing a full green, because we don't need that much extra, we can just do blue and blue, right? And between the two of those, we should be able to keep a full belt, I think. So we'll just watch it here for a minute, and it looks like just shy, maybe. So maybe we do swap out one of these with a green. Let's do the top one. And we're getting item ingredient shortage, but we are still maintaining the buffer there. So then what we might want to do is look at green, green, and green, just to kind of see if that helps keep those in check. And we can also, if we wanted to, we could actually change this to be, instead of one green, we can do two blues. Because then we can have one, you know, because one of them could end up doing each different material. The main thing is to see, okay, do we get a full belt? And now we have a full belt. So see how, I mean, this little kind of sandbox mode is so nice, because now I can kind of tweak and tune to my heart's content without having to worry about, well, the stuff backed up, so I can't really tell how well is this really doing. You know, am I really getting the volume that we expected? So now, you know, that kind of gives us a little idea, and you can see how this is already, you know, a nice mess of just, and that's only 4 lanes, and we're gonna need like, you know, 50 lanes of material coming through here. But you know, we can sort that out once we start getting this nailed down, because what we're trying to nail down first is like, well, how big do we need to be? You know, so if I have these, like right now, we just need 4 of these guys. That's it. 2 of these, 1 of those. That's it. So it's like, okay, so what about green? Now, I am going to use this to feed into the green, just so that way we can, you know, have a true representation of how that's going to flow. Now, the green says that, you know, we're probably going to need quite a few of these guys, right? Green science, it's not the fastest, it's not the greatest. What, 6-second crafting time versus 5 to 6, needs 1 and 1. So let's just start with, well, we have 4 filling up this right here. It's going to take an extra second. So let's assume maybe we need 6, right? So we can start there. Let's do that. I'm gonna come out here and set this here. 2, 3, 6. Okay, we're gonna set that to green. Oops. Ah. Go back to green. There we go. Okay, and then we need to get a couple more beacons down here. Yeah, that should do it. So then I can just do a copy. And yes, I'm still trying to use the 8 beacon setup as much as I can, just because it is a little more efficient on space. And while, you know, in this mode it doesn't really matter, I am just trying to, oh, you know what? I just realized, this could be all wrong. I did not realize that was a super productivity module, which is not. Let's see, that's 250%. What's this one? Yeah, I think I'm using the wrong module. That might be why I'm doing that, right? Okay. So let's let me swap out these modules really quick. Let's see what happens. Let me see, is there an easy way to, yeah, there we go. No, give me the module. Give me the module. Okay, it's picking up the material. I'll have to do. I'll just do that manually. Okay, let's okay, let's just do it this way. All right, we'll just. A little fun by hand here. Okay, well, I'm going to start back over here because this is where we kind of screwed up. So I want to make sure I'm using the right modules. I thought that was just a fake module for testing purposes. So let me get the real module. And then we get the real module. Because we are playing with no mods, and so we want to keep this to as vanilla a capability as possible. So this may change my whole design. Yeah, fun. Okay, so let's get the real reds, and we'll throw those there, and let's just oh, I can't use it on these guys. Okay. Okay. So these get blues. Okay, so now let's take a look. Let's take a look at this again. Because now that number of 7 of these might be a little more accurate, and we can see that we're not getting a full half a belt. So let's just do a copy. And then we'll just do boom and boom. Yeah. Okay, let's just see how that's starting here, and then we'll let me get this copy. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these guys. Let's just see how well that fills up his belt, if at all. All right, this is looking a much more realistic to what we were used to seeing. Okay, so definitely need a few more. Oh wait, that one's not outputting. Let's make sure everything's doing their job. Alright, so this is showing that we might have an issue trying to run it with a yellow belt. It's not coming down fast enough. So now what I can do though is I can come in here and just go upgrade to red. Let's see if that'll give us the throughput we need to make sure that we can keep these guys fed. Alright, so there's that. Now let's just see. How are we doing on the output? We're still not getting that full half belt. So I'm just checking each one of these here just to make sure that we got... Yeah, we don't have backlogs. I don't have a missed item here. Alright, so that's... You know, obviously not a full half belt. So let's copy 2 more. We're gonna get 2 more of these guys on here. And I might have to make this a little longer so it's easier to tell. All right, there we go. Let's let this get caught up, and then we'll be able to tell how we're doing. And it looks like I could probably get a couple more. I need another one there and there. Let's grab, oops, nope, nope. Okay, so we're keeping everybody fed. That's good. We're not getting any material backups, so that's, I mean, that's kind of good. But we're still not getting a full belt, full half belt, even though this said that we should be able to. So the question is are we hitting that material items where it actually pauses for a second every now and then? So I'm just trying to see here, and no, it looks like everything should be going well. So let's all right, well, let's just see, how much do we need to actually fill up a half a belt? I'm gonna copy 2 more. Okay, and then we need to copy boop and boop. Okay. So that should give us quite a few of these now. Let's see, where are we at? We're at 12. That is nearing a full half belt. But that might be too much, actually. Because I forgot that my calculations were at 1300 per minute. So, and that's what a half belt is for blue. So I might need to cut this in half, maybe go to a red belt for output. So let's do that. Let's just see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. So let's break the line here. I'll let these kind of all finish. And let's go to a red belt and see what we get. Oops. Right, so, because what we're wanting to do, and we'll let these kind of all finish out so that before we make a determination. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if 1300 is a half a belt, roughly, on a blue belt, then we don't necessarily need a full blue belt. But what I would like to do is maybe get a half a red belt. So let's see, what if I do let's see, a full 14 is like an 8 or 4/5 of a belt. So let me set 500. Let me see what that comes out to. So technically, a 0.3 of a belt is good for red. Yellow would be 0.6. So if I can fill up half of a yellow belt, that's roughly 500 per minute. So let me swap this down to yellow. And let's take a look and see what we get. So this is going to take a minute for it to kind of do its thing, since we got all this other stuff in the way. Okay, so yeah, so that will fill up a yellow belt. So maybe we do this as a red belt for this side. And if we can get, oops, I did it again. Oops, I did it again. I broke my factory. Okay, yes. Now, okay, so now we're back in business. Okay, so now we're going to see, now that I'm actually cooking with the right grease, we can see that we do not get a full red belt, but we're getting pretty close. So what I can do here is let's, I'm going to set these up to where I can enable it one factory at a time. And then we'll just go plop, and then we'll just kind of see. Let's see. Okay, did we get a full belt? It's like you don't always have to use calculators. If you can do this in a factory mode, you can kind of just, or like in this sandbox mode, like what I'm doing now, you could just do like what I'm doing. Test, test, test. All right, so now we go down here. Let's get another one in here. All right, let's see. How are we gonna do? How's that doing? Okay, everything's going good. We're getting we're nearly there for a half a belt. So let's go one more. And it's like we might go up to 10 total, I think, maybe. But that's kind of what we're looking at. Is like, what's the goal? So if red, it comes out to about the halfway mark. If a red belt is about the halfway mark of what we're looking to hit, then that's what we're going to try to get for a per minute, is a half a red belt for each science pack. So we're still getting we're almost there. So let's go one more. We'll let this run for a second and I mean, we're getting some backed up, and it looks like we're getting a full belt. It looks like when we don't, it's because it's like it's having to rotate out. So the output's full on here. So maybe if I put a green one, it can like capture all the little gaps, right? So, because all the other ones are doing okay with output, right? So it's like here, you know, we're waiting for space. So but it's not really backing up and getting a buffer of stuff. Like this one here is getting a buffer. So we're kind of, you know, this extra one is not quite needed, but it gets us to that final little hump to get that full half belt. Otherwise, we're like just shy by like a couple items. So, all right, so that looks better. So then this guy here, that guy here, we can delete that, delete that, delete that. Okay. So now that I got red science fixed, let's come over here and try to fix this. I still want to kind of try to get to a point where we have a half belt, but notice that it's eating up everything. So I might need to go ahead and flip this to a red belt as well. And I might even have to go blue. It just depends on the throughput, because it doesn't always need like a full belt of all the resources, but it just comes down to can I keep it full enough that we're able to run off the material that we need. So we're kind of doing a little chug along. But if I go back and look at my recipe, so it's saying it needs a 0.4 belt. So what I want to do is I want to come down here. Let's just say that's 0.4 of a blue belt. 0.6. That's almost half of a red belt. So it's actually just a little over half of a red belt is what we would require. So I do need to use the blue belt. I can't get away with the red. And where's the belt? Wow, okay, well, that's weird. The website, that Factorio Lab GitHub, looks like a piece is missing from it, but okay. But I still need a 0.4, and it's probably about the same as 0.6. So we need to be doing, I mean, we're almost needing a full half belt. But we should be able to get that from here if we can keep the inputs happy. And you can see that we keep running out of input. So this one may require us to do a little more. Let me do this, and let's add another inserter, because then they can kind of share the load. And I mean, we're still having an iron shortage, and you can see it is kind of coming in slow. So we might need to go ahead and swap this back out to a blue line. So that'll load it up a lot faster. And yeah, there we go. That looks like that's doing a little better now. It's like that looks a little closer to a full half belt, but these guys are not keeping up the same. Let's see, what's that's iron. But we can, well, let's just see if we can't just get these guys really going. Give them 3 inserters. But yeah, you can see that iron just really gets sucked down. I mean, well, I guess it does. Where is my belt? Where's the belt in this list? It should be in here. Sorry, I'm trying to look through this website because I'm not seeing the belt. Let me reload. I'm just gonna do a reload and then, okay, here we go. So okay, so yeah, so my little setup here isn't really valid, unfortunately, it looks like. Because to make this work at the rate, at the threshold, I need a 0.2 and a 0.4, which is basically 0.6 total. So it's more, just a little over half a belt to make this viable at the ratio that we're needing to build. So where's my, there he is. Okay. So, and you can see here, we need to get the arms up a little bit more than what they are. So what we could do is we can potentially make a second line. Well, no, because this is already consuming everything there. I need to make a second line of this that goes down basically just to here. I need a 0.2 of a line. So maybe what we do is use the old belt trick. So we can do the red belt, and then this would stop. Well, this would stop right here. The red belt would need to come in. Let's do this. There. If I do that to there, then I can do the blue to there. Okay, so that takes care of that. And then, because we can get away with a red belt on this for these guys. We just need that to keep this up to snuff, and that should start seeing this fill in the belt a little better, I would think. Green circuit. Why is green circuit so? Oh, well, let's change the green circuit to a stacker. See if that helps. I mean, that's still. It's like I almost need like 2 inserters for green circuits just to keep this thing on pace. But that did, either way, that did help. That's almost the full, I would say, a 0.4 belt. That looks like that could qualify as 0.4. What do you think? 0.4? I'd say that's close to 0.4. So now we just got to get another line here and make another little belt doohickey. So let's clear this, and then we can just kind of do a bloop. And we're gonna take another line off of there. Let's just do that for the moment. Let me get do that, and then I need to do that, and then we need this. Oh, I need to do this a little differently. I need to do that. That way I can... No, that's not quite what I want either. Let me break that. Let me do that to there. I'm gonna do that down. Let's do this, and we'll go right. So then we can do something like that, and that, and that, and that. Yeah. Okay. A little fun with belt shenanigans here. Okay, so that should get us red to red, and then blue to blue. Okay, wait, oh, I put the red in the wrong one. Red to red. No, why did it do that? That's blue. Why is it doing that to me? Do I need to do a red belt there and then red there? That is so weird. Why is it doing that? What if I do that, switch that back to blue? No, that is so weird. Why does it keep flipping it? Because this one worked fine. Okay, now, well, maybe it was just a little glitch. That's weird. Okay, so that should... So that should get us our inputs for both of these. And so then once they start running at full speed here, we should be getting close to almost a full half belt. And that's what it looks like we're getting. We're getting almost a full half belt of each. So now that means the green, I'm going to need a lot more green than I thought. to get this half belt, because it's saying we need like 16 of these suckers. 16, 17 of these suckers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do 7, 8. I'm gonna assume we need like 18. So let's do 2 and 2. So we're gonna do a double stack of this here. So what I'm gonna do is, well, actually, let me get one side fixed first. So we're gonna take, I want to start with red as the input, and then we're definitely gonna use red as the output. And then let's go ahead and get our inserters. Our output. Okay, so that's our insert. And then what we can do is I'm going to assume that we do need like the whole shebang. And so we're going to kind of bring this down like so. And then what I want to do is copy all of this. Maybe do a flip. Yeah, the flip doesn't quite do what I want, does it? I'll just flip it back for now. All right, let's just drop that down. So what I'm thinking to do is we're going to take that output and do something like this. We'll go blue to there, and then we'll go blue here, right? Then let it go back down to red. And then we can take our red there, bring this down, and then we should be able to let it combine, and then we'll have our outflow right there. And then what we can do is then this guy goes away, and then this guy comes down here and goes in like so. We need to get one of these power doohickeys. It's like, I know I'm not figuring out power and all that good stuff, but you know, I'm just trying to, like I said, this is all just to do testing, and we can figure out power poles and all that fun stuff later. So that is a lot more green science than what we need, obviously. Yeah. Actually, that might even be more of the inputs for this green science, because again, I keep forgetting that I have this targeted at 1300, which is half a blue belt, and we're going to be changing each side to do half a red belt. So we're actually almost at half a red belt on the greens just with that line. So what I think I'm going to do is we're going to delete all of that. And then we'll just delete that and delete that for now. Yeah. Okay. So with that deletion, we do need another green constructor here. So let's just see, will that give us our full belt? We might need one extra to truly get that full half belt like what we have over here. So let's kill this. And we're going to bring that down. Let's go ahead and bring this red down, because again, a lot of this is just to see what our numbers are. And so that way we can make sure we get the volume that we need. And then we can work on placement and all that fun stuff after the fact as to, you know, where it needs to go and all that fun stuff. So let's get that in there. And part of this testing is to see, like, can a red belt supply all of these factories, or do I need to have a blue belt? See, like, it's already looking like it's getting picked clean before it even gets to the bottom practically. So it's like, okay, are we keeping up? And I mean, if you look at it, I mean, you can see that it is starting to back up. And we have full belt capacity. So it looks like I could probably get rid of this guy. Let's just see. We'll be able to tell, because if this thing doesn't ever put down its what it's holding, then we'll know. Right. Well, it did put down one, but this has capacity. So let's do that. That should make it to where we don't have any gaps. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, there's a slight gap. Oh, just a slight gap. What's interesting is that it's almost, it looks like it should, I mean, it looks like, okay, it might just be that if we do the arm switch is when we might get a slight lag, as you can see right there. So like if I was to maybe do like that, maybe that'll take care of it, because this one right here is getting, you know, basically a backup of bottles here. And the ones that are in the cargo hand actually help with the buffering. So that's a nice little extra benefit here. So that, yeah, that looks like that gets us a full green line. But these guys here, I mean, this is too much, right? Because this looks like this is enough. This is producing pretty much enough to do the full 1300 stack. So like a full red belt, not a half red belt. This thing should cover the whole thing. So what we could do, just to see, I mean, we only need, either way, we're still going to need a minimum of 1 and 1. I mean, we can't get away with that. And if it produces a little extra, that's fine. It's slow. It'll just won't consume this that fast. So what we could do is we could potentially like get rid of this and just do a 1 and 1. And then that's probably the better solution for just doing a half a facility. So then we could do like a mimic this on the other side. And part of what we're going to be looking at is like, you know, we'll be wanting to combine this like in line potentially with the green circuits. It's just a matter of like, how many green circuits do we need? You know, maybe we put these like on the outer edges, right? So that way we don't have like these gaps right here, right? So it's about optimizing our space usage and all that good stuff. And it looks like one, I mean, so far it looks like one's keeping up. I mean, it's slowly catching up. We'll see. You know, I can probably let this run for a little while and we'll be able to see how well it does or doesn't do. Because we might still need that one. Might still need to have the full 2 just to keep this thing like really fully cranked up. So yeah, so we are on the way to kind of doing some redesign and just affirmations of what volume we need here. And so that way we can start figuring out like the layout that we want for these things. And then we can start playing around. So since we don't have to worry about logistics here, I can play around with this to where I could say, well, what if I make this horizontal instead of vertical, or vertical instead of horizontal? Or what if I make it like a dual lane instead of a single lane like I have here? You know, what if I put 2 of these on a side to where it's filling up a belt, and then we just have it pipe into the side of a belt for consumption, to where we can just like, we merge the red and green together, and maybe pipe it up to the center and have it come through the center to our process. So these are the kind of things that we can design and play with here, and what makes this process so nice. And you can see, yeah, it is starting to run out. We might still need to have the two. I mean, so far it looks like we're still keeping up with a full belt, or the full half belt. But yeah, like this guy here has already stopped producing, which means that this is going to start backing up. We're not going to have that full half belt here shortly. See, yeah, there it goes, start going. Okay, so we do need to go ahead and have this. So I'm going to undo what I did and put it back, and so now I know. It's like, okay, we'll just keep them both no matter what. So anyway, so this was a little something different, working on kind of design problems and how you can use a sandbox mode with some of the editor tools to kind of help you figure stuff out, and which will eventually lead you into better blueprints. So if you enjoy watching this, or want to see more, or continue as I continue on playing with this instead of just seeing my final result, you know, let me know, and we'll go from there and see kind of how we do with all this fun stuff. So just trying something a little different while I'm trying to figure out the next steps for my mega factory. So until next time, I'd like to say thanks for watching, and good night.